If you think slow internet is annoying now, imagine living in a world where your favorite song buffers for 3 hours unless you pay extra to unlock premium breathing speed. Imagine concerts streamed in 144p unless you subscribe to the Platinum Emotion package. Imagine entire websites locked behind corporate mood filters. That was 2038, and baby metal was illegal. Not banned exactly, just throttled. In 2038, net neutrality had been dead for almost 20 years. What started as small priority lanes turned into full-blown digital empires. Megacorporations controlled information speed the way medieval kingdoms controlled water. News loaded instantly if it favored the right sponsors. Independent artists? They existed in the buffering shadows. Suzuka Nakamoto stood in a dim underground rehearsal bunker beneath what used to be Tokyo's entertainment district. The world above was layered in holographic ads and subscription checkpoints. Every street corner scanned your account tier before allowing you to view augmented reality signs. Inside the bunker, the air hummed with illegal routers. Yui Mizuno adjusted a tangled mess of wires with quiet precision. She had become frighteningly good at navigating obsolete hardware. While corporations moved everything into encrypted cloud towers, Yui preferred analog connections. Wires, switches, physical switches you could actually flip. Moa Kikuchi sat cross-legged on the floor, holding a cracked tablet that displayed a single loading bar frozen at 2%. Good news, she announced. It says only 12 hours remaining until the chorus loads. Momoko Okazaki leaned over her shoulder. That's faster than last week. We're evolving. Suzuka didn't laugh. On the wall behind them, a faded poster from 2017 showed a bright stage, red lights, and a crowd without data restrictions, back when performances reached fans at the same speed, whether they were rich or not. Now, if a viewer couldn't afford a Tier 4 cultural access pass, Baby Metal's music streamed in distorted fragments, drums without vocals, vocals without rhythm, entire songs missing bridges unless you upgraded mid-listen. It wasn't just unfair, it was strangling creativity. A group calling themselves the Unthrottled had approached Suzuka months earlier. Hackers, archivists, rogue engineers, people who remembered what the open internet felt like. They had built something impossible. A time tunnel. Not a dramatic swirling vortex. No glowing portal tearing through the sky. It was quieter than that. A compression exploit buried deep in abandoned infrastructure, powered by forgotten servers and unstable physics experiments that had never been fully shut down. It didn't move bodies, it moved data. And if configured correctly, it could move people, only temporarily, only once. To fix the future, the lead engineer had said, we have to go back to when the decision was still being debated, 2017, before it collapsed. The plan was reckless. If they failed, they'd be erased digitally, blacklisted across every corporate network. If they succeeded, they might shift history enough to save the open web. Suzuka had listened quietly. Then she had said yes, because music was never meant to be sold in pieces. The night they activated the tunnel, the bunker lights flickered as power rerouted through illegal grid lines. Yui stood by the core console, fingers steady. Moa tried to lighten the mood by pretending she wasn't terrified. Momoko filmed everything on a contraband camcorder, not for upload, but for proof that it had happened. Suzuka stepped into the center of the activation field. The air compressed. Sound folded in on itself. For a split second, she heard overlapping versions of their own songs, distorted future streams colliding with clean past recordings. Then everything snapped. When Suzuka opened her eyes, the air smelled different, cleaner, less synthetic. She stood in a rehearsal studio filled with sunlight streaming through real windows, not augmented projections. On the wall hung a calendar, 2017. Her pulse raced. Moments later, Yui, Moa, and Momoko stabilized beside her, disoriented but intact. They stared at each other in disbelief. Moa slowly picked up a nearby smartphone. No subscription warnings, she whispered. No access tiers. Momoko tapped the screen. A video loaded instantly. No buffering, no watermark tiers, no emotional paywalls. Yui moved to a nearby laptop and opened a streaming site. It was open, fast, unrestricted. Suzuka felt something unfamiliar in her chest. Hope. But they weren't here to celebrate. They were here to interfere. In 2017, the debate over internet regulation was loud but unfinished. Policies were being drafted. Lobbyists were moving quietly behind the scenes. Most people didn't realize how drastically things could change. The Unthrottled had given them a mission: amplify awareness, use their platform, inject the cultural moment with something impossible to ignore. They had one performance window before the time compression destabilized, so they did what they did best. They rehearsed. But this time, the choreography carried urgency. The lyrics, newly written for this mission, were layered with metaphor, not lectures, not speeches, but emotion. Energy, a warning disguised as a rally cry. On stage, under 2017's unrestricted streaming networks, BABYMETAL performed like the future depended on it, because it did. The live stream spread instantly. No premium gates, no data throttling. Millions watched in real time. Clips exploded across platforms. Comment sections ignited with debates. News outlets covered the unexpected thematic shift. Policy discussions gained momentum. It wasn't a single performance that changed everything. It was the spark. Back in the bunker timeline, the compression field began to collapse. The studio walls flickered. Momoko looked at Suzuka. Did we do enough? Yui didn't speak, but her expression asked the same question. Moa tried to joke. Worst case, we invented extremely confusing fan lore. Suzuka glanced around at the 2017 world, bright, open, unaware of what it was about to lose. Then the world snapped again. They landed hard on the bunker floor in 2038. Silence. The illegal routers hummed. Yui scrambled to the console, checked the network. Moa grabbed the cracked tablet. The loading bar didn't freeze at 2%. It moved, slowly but steadily. Momoko opened a public stream. The resolution wasn't perfect, but it wasn't fractured into paid tiers either. Suzuka stepped outside the bunker entrance and looked up at the skyline. The holographic ads were still there. The corporations still existed. But something was different. Independent channels glowed across buildings. Open access signals flickered in neighborhoods that had been digitally dark for years. They hadn't erased corporate control, but they had cracked it. In 2038, the internet wasn't fully free, but it wasn't fully owned anymore either. And somewhere between buffering bars and broken monopolies, BABYMETAL realized something powerful. The future doesn't change all at once. Sometimes it just loads a little faster.